yelling something loud. What you just said is true. Yu Vu Sun strictly sold the devil and Lam Fu Feng. Even the youngest celestial head. The Holy Spirit is also. Except 371 another aspect before leaving. Tend to pull the divergence often to the side. Laughing at the lost lady. Maybe I'll ask you to take care of it later. He asked me to take care of him, and he asked me to take care of him. A little frown is a mouth-watering award. Is a haughty lady figure who's pampered. Although I appreciate your willingness to help. Most likely, he is back to normal. But often confused. I don't want to give up on love. So how many enemies are visible on the face? This moment. She's like the kind of woman with the sour lemon. They fight for men all the time. I don't understand what the status is here. With the same tendency to shout out loud. Look at her expression. She suddenly burst into laughter. NDTO shows an exaggerated bell of this size. She can't reach it. Beyond the present. Only she and the misfits usually care about him. She will soon leave. There's only one way to get lost. Not wanting to compare with her, she lost her dignity. He just smiled and said, I mean, you have to take care of his heart. Let him know that he is not alone in this world. Already said. Suddenly, in your hands, a new world appeared. Put it in the usual. Leave without saying any more. People who often see this are terrified. But there's a little anger. This is the ring. Probably the most worn on hand. There are 3 in total. The remaining 2. Give the incense to the sky. And he's got a 4th for the city. That she alone is not there. Bite your teeth in anger. Running towards the surest of the world. Everyone who meets you will also give gifts. Only we don't have it. Where did you get this ring? His eyes breathed a cold voice. To see him angry is an impurity in the heart of the whole sutra. Immediately muttered in a low voice, my boss told me to take care of it. Throw it away. Don't want to hear another word. Probably most impatient. Put on the hands of the little fish and thank heaven. It means so much to me. I said, turn to the people. The angry family yelled at you for what you were doing. Get ready to go quickly. The next leader looks the best. The world is loud with ordinary confusion. Cried out anxiously, my lady. People often don't pay attention to him. Softly frown to think. Then the police tend to have this idea. He really became a lonely man. And without hesitation, I put it on my hand. In the eyes, the steady ray. If they were in love with you. So she tried to pull him out of his solitude. A different dimension in a lush jungle. The dark shadows lurking on the tree trunk. Look at the direction the 5 strangers left. Eyes revealed rays of evil. But these people are the people of Yumen Cup. At this moment an aggressive black shadow biting his lips angrily said, SA deserves to die. There was a high priest at the top of the town. We can't touch them this time. You penalized paint the eyes of Yin and Ling, slowly shaking his head. 5 elders are not made by feelings. Even if there's no prayer. Probably now. It's not someone we can deal with. Suddenly there is a shadow coming. Slowly speak up. That's right, the peanut now has a human intelligence. There are also Gao players such as the celestial calendar. It was the existence of the day that landed 7 miles away from us. It's also very difficult to move. Based only on the power of Yumin, our cup. There's nothing we can do about it right now. On the contrary, if the treatment is not good, they may be betrayed and lead to destruction. The cold hat man glanced at him, laughing and saying, Yumin, you've become more and more bossy lately. The elder dared Chun to come in. Slowly take off the shirt. Expose the cold teenage face. No one else is a disciple of the devil. It's just that he's much more stable now than he was that year. He glanced at him with a glance. He looked back at the old man and laughed. Great elder. This guy is very well nourished. He has some temperament. Ha ha ha, the owner is so complimented. He is the father of 7. The old man is just another point. Also lucky. This time I won't let him attend this show. Otherwise, you will be killed by that monster. Then in the morning we have no hope. Just thought of the scene in the mountain. The old man trembled and said, Since he died 7 years ago, I have suffered a lot. They are used as guns. I hope it's you. He can take his responsibility 7. To support the patriarch of family development. What about the previous killer? Now let's not forget. That's right, humans are probably too scary. Even the impermanent lackey. It was also in his hands. Plus now he's got enough feathers. It is difficult to touch him. Yu Min in his eyes flashed the light also agreed to say. The Lord heard the words of the two. Immediately fell into meditation. Finally he nodded. Now think again. They have since met the worst. I've never seen anything good. This time the power is strong. If you still face Yu Min Cup, the more they have no interest. Just thought of this. He looked back at Yu Min again. What strategy do you have? The master once said when he was alive. All evil plots are made by people in the delusion. The Emperor has declared war on the lost. We'd better not get our hands on this. Jump out of the fight, find another way to go. The other way, you say? The 5-year-old next to him raised his eyebrows suspiciously. His word is not over. Yu Min stuck his mouth to explain. The present is surely ordinary and impermanent. These two evil people are fighting each other. Whether we participate in, it's not their opponent either. Then we bet on the future. The future of the mountain people looked at each other, full of incomprehensible fascination. I see people's doubts. My mouth is confident, you're right. Our goal is the empire. It's like O1A I found out. 2 photos, since the 100 families of Min has appeared so far. Haven't left yet. Absolutely grasp the whole world of power in heaven. Currently, the sky is getting more and more chaotic now. Not only the 7th generation fighting, even the 4 emperors 7 very quickly will be involved. In the forest of rebellion, you choose them, that kid can handle it. One old sound laughed out loud. Hear this word. The rest of the image suddenly laughed. Don't worry about your own business. He's the one who looks at them absolutely no less. Wait for 3 years later. I personally picked him up to wash his previous shame. You really trust him like that? The monsters of other tribes. No one is worse than him. Caca. Yes, use 9 products Lindan in exchange for Sao. I can't guarantee it. On the contrary, you are trying to fool a girl. Your political leader. It's much worse than our magic. I can't help laughing and laughing. When he heard this, he was angry and cold. Yes, everyone's cooperating. AI gets what it needs. Is there something shameful, or not? 10 parts of confidence to speak up. Great to get what you need. So this time we don't owe each other. Later, the 2 sides will meet. Don't blame me for not being a coward. Of course you are like your disciples. It will definitely win. You wait for me to be angry for an hour. The image shakes me away. The crow here doesn't stop laughing. I said I wasn't sure before. But after the boy. That join. I will make sure you lose your pants. Caca. 372 return to the city. 3 months later, the 5th team of the most ordinary track finally back to the forest. I was standing in front of the black paint. There's a little feeling again. How many years to leave? I've finally returned to this place. Right now, in front of the battle. Open-hearted prayer laughing for an hour. The butler welcomes you back. The old man came to relieve control. Slowly put on the strongest hand, revealing a happy smile. No need to open it myself. Said and turned his head to the stern in the back. Strictly follow you here. I don't dare to celebrate 7 days, he hurried to the most humble man. Track the butler. You have something to tell. You're welcome, you'll see him soon. Your master is about to be in synchrony. After all, you are also a lost man. Method of opening the ban of the great battle. I give it to you now. Stand by to see clearly. The stern body could not withstand the shock. A little agitated, no words. Seriously, how many years? He lived with hatred for so many years. This hour, he was able to see the master he had been thinking of. Why can't I get excited? Finally, he looked at the front door. The worst of the world slowly opened the seal and shouted for an hour. Lifting according to his scream. And then there's an oscillation. Light dissipation raw. Open a road to the top of Black Fung Mountain. Most likely, slowly turn your head. Look at the stern side, coldly laughing. After all, this is your family. You and your master. And the words aren't finished yet. At the top of the mountain, there was a loud noise. The dust crashed into their faces. Attached to that, there's a loud shout, the ears are ringing endlessly. Caca. Who do you think you two are? Or sacred ceremony. I also dare to manage the fate of our 4 demons. The face immediately dropped. Most likely, he raised his head and looked ahead. The 4 demons that deserve to die. There's no why here. It's a little bit of a good mood. Follow them and cancel it. Only inside the black fung paint. There was some shame on his face, and he said, "This is the butler." I saw that his face was not good. Shy to speak up. The old butler went to deal with these guys. "You don't need me. Slowly put on your hand." It seems to be closer to the voice. When he finished, he lifted his feet forward. Everyone immediately followed. God saw that and laughed. The fakir demons this time will definitely be recorded 11 times. Wait until everyone gets to the top of the mountain. It's all over the place. No one dares to look straight. They're finally here to watch the war. Or is it destroying the house? Why did this happen again? Needless to say, they know. That's what the 4 demons do. That sometimes the sound of destruction is heard inside. It's like crazy screaming. 4 of you bastards. I want to destroy the 1,000-year-old mirror. He will definitely have to kill you. Hi. What is the old woman looking at in the mirror? Cancel is right, cancel, cleverly. Loud laughter said. The ant's face became more and more angry. My two red eyes want to scream. The sheep next door saw that. He also shouted angrily. Don't talk shit to them. Use life and death. Words just came out. The celestial feast is immediately astonishing. These guys are crazy. They fight to the point of using life and death. This move will destroy the entire Ra tribe. They don't know what to do with it. This is the greatest taboo of all. There's no doubt about it. The worst of them will punish them. Just thought of this. The Lord hurried to say. My butler stopped them. No need. The strongest forehead in the world is now filled with blue veins. 2 holding hands tightly to the right of anger. These people work without thinking about the big picture. You have to teach them once. To avoid later not having why here. There's nothing to do, just messing around all the time. The voice that was the most certain was determined. The 6 people inside immediately screamed in pain. The murderous devil rolled on the ground crying out in pain. What's going on? 5 years without pain, now it hurts again. I know. It's the king's blood. The devil's shrewd in the eyes condensed screaming. Serum ants with sheep inflammation high. It doesn't stop hurting right now. On the ground scorn for idiots. He doesn't know how to control the blood. What have we been cheated on? Can't help but startle. The devil bit his teeth. But he doesn't know this trick. Why does our head hurt so much now? For idiots have to ask why. Such a scary trick. There are many others who can use it. Aggressively glaring at them. The ant serum bit its teeth holding down in pain. In my eyes, I saw that boy is back. Her words just ended. The devil is immediately terrified. The evil boy is finally back. Their final day is coming. Think about it, the face is not unsightly. Cry no tears. At this time most people are probably. Tears finally reached the top of the mountain. I looked at 6 people on the ground. I just saw him appear. The 4 demons are afraid. If you lower your head, you don't dare speak. Sheep inflammation high together. The ant serum here is a little smarter. I know once I use this, any prayer is useless. I thought and turned to the next door. Hurry to pray, the old man said to Track. The butler is the for little devils who caused trouble first. It has nothing to do with us. The surgeon sighed. He looked at them with a low voice. The housekeeper may not know why, but you shouldn't say you want to use life and death. This is not the same as canceling Rossau. That's stupid. But we're just talking, not really doing it. To people with miserable faces said. But right now, again look at the divergence that's usually in the back going to. It's like catching a life-saving straw. To people who tend to diverge often raise their voices low. Great lady. Misfits often see this, smiling so they can rest assured. Look at her smile. See sheep with ant serum. Touched about to cry. It's not in vain. They were friendly with this lady. The important moment really works. Go to the hall. Most likely sitting on top. And everyone was crying, and followed in. Silence without a word. There's only a stray usually on one side. Love for the couple. Sheep inflammation high. Most people know that the two of them are not wrong. It's just that the fakir demons went crazy. It's not without reason either. So immediately change the decision. Let them go once and respect your face. This time I forgive you first. Get rid of the pain. The two sheep immediately bowed their heads happily. Thank you, Track Butler, generous clemency. Right now, I seriously listen to the news of my disciples. Also according to, rushed to the hall. Bow your head with the most precious one. And then look at it and shout it out loud. Disciple. Unconsciously and stupidly, he looked at the person in front of him in disbelief. Doubt or ask. You are my master. Ha ha ha, of course. He was embarrassed and laughed. At the time of the pilot eating 8 qualities of Lindon of Track the Butler. All toxins in the body are eliminated. How young again, 10 years old. Why, handsome. The master spoke to me earlier. When the master was young. You don't practice those 7 colors. Also rich to onto. Enchanted thousands of girls. Now you see I'm not fooling you. I was so excited to hear that. Who hastily knelt down. Tears came out. Yes, you are my master. That year, you only tell lies in front of me. This is a secret only the two of us know, master. Disciple. He was also very excited to get him up. They've been separated for so long. Finally meet again, the emotion can't speak. Probably on one side. They don't look disturbed. Waiting for them to talk about the old story. Once again, the mood is beginning to settle down. Okay, seriously, you're young. I can't carry a place alone. Let's start with the deacon of the lost family first. Multipurpose strict dress Track fostered butler. Solemnly embraced the right to bow, and respectfully replied. Assignment done. Most likely, he smiled with satisfaction. But right now, he suddenly feels like he's forgotten something. But thinking all the time doesn't work. He decided to leave it alone. No need to think anymore. I really forgot one thing. It's the 4 demons outside. He hasn't released their blood yet. So right now, 4 people still suffer. Holding my head moaning on the ground. The devil's sharp face hurts to the paralyzed mind. Suffering said him. Are we being forgotten or not? Looks like that. The murderous devil is equally painful. Cry no tears said. Another dimension. 2 lonely people fighting with Fuang Thursday by. Bring the results of the 100 Min paintings this time. Return to the imperial capital. The emperor had just heard the results. Shouted in amazement. Everything you just said is true. Yu Vu Sun strictly sold the devil and Lam Fu Feng. Even the head of the universe. The youngest life of the Holy Spirit. 373 children visited. Let me be as sure as possible to accept this. There was not much hope in the emperor's heart. But let him surprise you. It can be completed beyond the limit. Give him such a great honor. He looked at the 2 of you. Fuang Thursday Batch and her lonely battle sky seriously asked, even not. They looked at each other in cold sweat. Not talking for a long time. In the end, Fang Autumn Batch also spoke up reluctantly. Begin, Your Majesty. In the 100 families of Min. Hong Fu Than Thien. Appearance of the Long Soul. Although the royal court of heaven they are cunning. But the old man thought. They deliberately lured the dragon's soul in the royal dragon's 7th family. Want to win heaven? What? The emperor banged on the table in amazement. Annoyed, you are. The king is so brave. Dare the yellow artery 7. There are people who are owned by the dragon's soul. But it's not true. If the Holy Spirit has a soul. God willing, why not? Close your eyes and take a deep breath. The color of the face is slightly off. I'm afraid it's worse than you think. Surely mortals can't take it for granted. He didn't just kill the emperor. And reclaiming the long soul. It makes heaven and earth move 9 days and 9 nights without stopping. According to the old man, this person is a traitor. The world is rare. The emperor could not help but squint his eyes. He looked at the white man in amazement. You mean probably now. Body-bearing soul. To become a king of heaven and earth. Heavy nod. The white man whispered, that's right. But even though he said that the dragon's soul rules the owner. Those who have the heart have the world. It is the 1,000-year prophecy of the great emperor. But the prophecy of the high priest for 1,000 years. Private has never been wrong. There's only one thing the old man doesn't understand. If the dragon's soul is the rule of heaven. God bless you. At Sao Hong Fu Then Thien. He died in the hands of the devil. The emperor closed his eyes and said, this is the omission of the prophecy. Or human beings are probably the ones who are against heaven. Then, maybe that's why Sao killed Hong Fu Then Thien. Bite to death. Fang Thursday Batch bite his teeth, bow to the newspaper. The emperor could not resist the stagnation. In a sudden panic. Biting to death is not a bad thing. What's wrong with your majesty? The white man said in a hurry. The emperor did not answer. Speak up and keep asking. After that, the emperor died. What's the attitude of those families? His Majesty the Emperor of Heaven died. He must have been surrounded by the four great families. But talk about this. The white man was suddenly silent. Watching him falter, the Emperor was in a hurry. Can you help me? Slowly shaking his head, the lonely woman of war now bowed her head to the newspaper. Your Majesty, this boy has a soul. Sooner or later is the disaster of Emperor 7. Thinking about him helps us a lot. If we deal with him personally, I'm afraid we'll be soft-hearted. The 100-year-old looked at him. He turned his head towards the Emperor. Let him die in the hands of the king. Also seen as a good result. So the old man and the marshal didn't act. But heaven's heaven is filled with wonder. Suddenly appeared. Be sure to save. What is heaven and earth? The terrified emperor shouted. Doubts speak up. He is not the father of the king. And she disappeared 6 to 7 years ago. Why did he show up again? Not without laughing for an hour. The doctor laughed and shook his head. The old man is also unknown. The old man only knows now he has betrayed the emperor and joined the lost army. Become an elder there. Lonely girl town face color stopped heavy. I can't speak up. And he listened very carefully to the words of the devil. So much so that he was told to destroy the emperor. He didn't say a word. No old love, go out with the people of the kingdom of heaven. Terrified again. The emperor could not help but scream. The emperor in Yunlong City is destroyed. Of course not. I looked at the emperor's terrified face. The white man hurriedly put on his hand. Leader of the emperor destroyed everything. The world is in chaos. This is a disadvantage to your stability. So I will immediately take action. But this sutra is really beneficial. Power to reach the peak of the wind. Even the old man could only fight with him. It's a shame. The emperor was angry in his heart. This is not essay. Now, there was no distance from the 7 kingdoms anymore. Maybe even the first family. Only the emperor. No more than 15 families in decline have reached this stage. The greatest talent of all is talent. It can be turned to gold. In such a short time. Sigh a little. The emperor took a piece of paper from his sleeve. Unwilling to speak up, watch. At that time the heavens changed. The priest brings the prophecy. Take the paper in your hands. The editor has just finished reading what's in it. Immediately terrified, he looked at the emperor and said he didn't know. How do you see this? I didn't understand this idea. But you describe it. Back to the Ming dynasty in Vanlong. Roughly understand a fen. Hand-stroked beard. The emperor explained. This dragon land. It must be the emperor. Hong Fu Than Thien as the representative. The dragon is the only one who comes down from the sky. Lead the way to rise up. The sky is in one place. It's not coincidental to the human bite. Swallow Hong Fu Than Thien Sao. What about the last sentence? Jiang Ha Tiger High Self-proclaimed king. It's also what I'm most worried about. The world claims to be the king of heaven. Listen to hear. The 2 men fell into deep meditation. His face quickly dropped. If this prediction is true, The universe will not fall into chaos now. Thinking for a long time, the lonely woman of war immediately embraced the right to speak boldly. Your Majesty, the Lord has a love affair with the lost family. But because of the danger of the universe, please allow the old man to leave the forest. Slow hands. The Emperor in his eyes flashed, and Tia said, I don't know who knows the enemy. Maybe 100 wins. The intelligence of the strictly. Suddenly there was a panic. Heaven run out. I can see how many secrets are hidden and... Even if you really do this, it shouldn't be us either. An anonymous appearance will only make the world more chaotic. Let that AI fisherman benefit. So what should we do, Your Majesty? Lonely girl battle angel face stop wait. Lower your voice. For half a day. The Emperor's eyes flashed with evil. My mouth is open as I promised before. Send all the stragglers to the imperial capital for ordination. The wind is down the 8th world. Million batch family ants come to see. All the leaders of the 7 kingdoms watched. This word has just come out. 2 eyes lit up. Nod and smile. His Majesty Cowman, so many experts gathered in the imperial capital. We cannot control. Any personal grudges are resolved by the families themselves. So then, even though the Lack family suffered the poison of the Emperor's Gate, it's none of our business either. And can also see clearly the strength of the houses. It's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Not probably. The Emperor's Gate could no longer do anything to Lacra. I just want to see the current strength of the Lack family. How the hell? Ha ha ha, laugh evilly. The old Emperor's eyes blinked. They make people not see. 3 months later, in front of the black paint, a 67-year-old comedian suddenly shows up. Looking up at a fen. They say this is your house. There's also a 5th level battle to protect the NDTO. Finally, he turned inside the Black Wind Mountain. Dad, I'll come and open the door or I'll hit it. He heard a loud cry and was the first to go out. I just came out and saw a baby standing in front of the Black Fung Mountain Gate in amazement. He is a little devil. He said, lift his feet and go straight there. He looked down and said, I thought someone was coming over. Little devil, you run to get lost. What are we calling? I came to find someone. Looking for someone who is astonished. The little comedian's face smiled happily. Arrogance says, my father is sure. 374 Your father is a monster. This word just came out in astonishment and shouted something. You just said, who do you want to find? 2 hard words look at him. I don't care to repeat a name. Fan. No, I don't mean what you are. I couldn't help but swallow a sip of saliva. Hesitated to ask. Frowned softly. The little comedian casually said, my father is so. The butler is your father. A little startled, he looked at the baby and opened his mouth. The butler has such a big son. Why didn't you hear him say that? 2 kids raised their heads thinking. I finally found a good reason. He looked at me and said, Maybe I didn't have time to tell the caretakers. We've only recently gotten married, though. I look at you and wonder, you are my own son. Slowly nod to understand the idea. Strictly goes to rub head small comedian. Said with a gentle smile. Your little friend is here. Wait a minute. I will call your father immediately. Sub to Death Kai.